Hey, so I'm just checking in on a few things. Right now, I am having a kind of late dinner with the family. It's almost 9 o'clock, but it's been a crazy busy day. So we live in Harris County, Texas, and one of the things that sometimes when something terrible happens, like a hurricane or other natural disaster, or you would think maybe a pandemic, the county would put a stop to raising our taxes and values or just cap them for the year. But they did not do that this year. So basically, this is something I dread doing, but I have to do it tomorrow, which is that I have to go before the county tax assessor and argue that our house is valued the same thing it was at the beginning of this year as it was the middle of the year before. I know that kind of sounds weird, but basically the county kind of has to give you the value of the property that whatever you purchased it for that year. If you take that sale to them, they kind of have to value it for that. So we bought the property in June of the year before, and so we were able to have the property valued at that when that year came too. Okay, so that was 6 months later. So then a year after that, their first chance to be able to either just keep it, leave it alone, or raise it. They raised it, what is it, like five times? They increased our improvement, because really you can't argue about the land. But there's definitely no way to quantify and say that we actually have done anything to actually increase our value of our actual house by 5 times. I wish we had, but no, we're just smart buyers and willing to put in some work and willing to live with certain things till we can do something else. This is how we are. We're always looking for a good deal. We were able to find a really great spot on our street in our neighborhood that we love. But all that to say, tomorrow I have to go before the county and fight this. I'm also dealing with some issues with my child's school, the one with special needs. He is mainstream, he's in high school, but he's on the autism spectrum, and that makes any kind of change and transitions really, really hard. And the beginning of the school year is always really, really hard. No matter how well he's doing, how well adjusted he seems, it's just really hard. And so this whole being out of school or distant learning for 6 weeks was very difficult, very challenging for him and for us. And then he went back to school, and then now they're closing the school again 2 days this week for testing. They're testing certain grades, just those grades, and they're not allowing anyone else, no exceptions, to be at the school. And I think that's acceptable for most. I don't think it's acceptable for the vulnerable population, which he's a part of. And just as an example, yesterday was one of the days that he stayed home, and he was so off of his schedule that 2:30 in the morning, he was still awake last night. And we had taken away his computer, his school computer. He had no phone, so it was no like being overstimulated with devices. It was just being off of his schedule. And for the school to kind of put him in that position to be able to say, we're not going to offer him a place where he can at least just come to the campus and be able to do his work and just stay on his routine, it's just hard. So I'm kind of dealing with that, trying to figure that out so that we can have a fair plan moving forward. I've resolved to not do anything about this week, but moving forward, just, you can't tell an autistic child that their routine can't stay the same. Now, what are we going to do if an actual outbreak happens or something of COVID-19? Well, then we'll have to deal with that, and he won't be able to go to campus. But when the campus is allowed to be opened, and there are staff there, and there's certainly things they could do for the one child that they have on the spectrum. And maybe there are others, I don't know, but I would argue that they need to be there too. If it, if these kind of things affect them the way they do our son. So I'm dealing with that. And I was doing something else that I had volunteered to do. And this was like, I volunteered to be a judge for a debate tournament, and it's all online. So I thought, oh yeah, I can totally do that. The only problem is I got the information this morning that I was going to be judging today, and it would be due by 7 p.m. The ballot would be due. Great. I check in at 9 a.m. this morning to look and see if I can start watching the performances, and they're not there. There's nothing there. So, and I emailed someone, and I got a reply back from someone at the tournament, and they said nothing. So I figured I wasn't missing it. I'm like, am I missing the ballot? No. I was driving kids home from school today, and it was after 5 o'clock, our time. And I got a text message, and I asked Maddox, who was riding shotgun, and I asked him if he would read me the message, and he started reading it, and it was about the debate tournament. So it's after 5 o'clock, and it said, I guess it lists the schools or something that I was judging, and then it said the ballot was due at 7 p.m. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe, I guess it's talking about tomorrow. No, it was talking about today. So I had to watch 7 performances. Luckily, they were each 10 minutes long. I wrote each one of them notes and some critique to work through. Wrote my reasoning for the order. I didn't see it anyway. I didn't see an actual score form. I just saw what I was looking for. So there was like 7 different points. Each one kind of articulated what those were. So then I created my own point system because it said you could give a maximum of 30 points. So anyway, I did that. So I judged a debate tournament today and tried to prepare for our meeting with the county, and going through Bakri's IEP so I can kind of deal with his accommodations, and got a very late start on dinner. So we are having green beans. It's the Lebanese green beans, rice, and lamb mixture that we cook with the Lebanese 7 spices. It's really, really good. It is not hard to do, but the longest part is the green beans, like preparing them, like just getting them ready. And so Trinity did that. Took her about an hour. So anyway, I got the rice ready, and then Maddox chopped the onion, so kind of put everybody to work. Anyway, and now everything's done. The green beans are just kind of soaking in the flavor of the lamb and the ground lamb and the 7 spices, and so probably another like 5 or 10 minutes, and it'll be good to go. So anyway, just thought I'd check in. It's just one of those days that nothing really super exciting happening, but also just I'm kind of worn out. Just ready for a no battle day. So once I get past this county fight tomorrow, hopefully we'll be able to get our value back down to where it should be, which is what we bought it for. And go from there, and then I'll feel a little bit better. Anyway, this is El Mama, and I'm signing off. Have a good night.